Hello, my name is Mallory Raven, and I researched Hercules and Alcestis by Eugene Delacroix. The medium for this painting is considered oil on cardboard mounted on wood, and because it was mounted on wood, we are able to enjoy this piece because it is well preserved hundreds of years later. The elements of art for Hercules and Alcestis. I'm going to begin by describing the lines. The lines are blurred yet defined where needed. In the next slide, you'll really be able to see what I'm talking about with the lines. They define certain objects and shapes within the painting itself, which tends to draw the eye to certain points and away from other points. Next, I'd like to talk about the color. And again, all these we'll be able to see on the next slide. The color is very vivid and bright. There's bright red and white, which help draw the attention to a certain focal point. And the focal point for this picture is the maiden or woman called Alcestis. The next figure within the painting that your eyes shown to is her husband that Hercules is bringing her back to because he was a ruler, so he's in red for power. The colors within the rock formation they're very well blended together. And when you start looking at the painting, small things start popping out. When I first looked at it, I didn't realize the bull that is killed in the far left-hand side of the painting. The colors are realistic and lifelike. They are fairly simple. They're not too bold or crazily mixed colors. They are fairly simple and just kind of everyday colors. Next, I'd like to talk about the shape. There's certain shapes within the artwork. Delacroix makes it defines stone altar as well as Alcestis' breasts. And because her breasts shaped the way they are and outlined like they are, it draws your attention to the fact that Hercules is carrying a woman. Muscles are also well defined, so it kind of stands out that he is Hercules in the painting. The rock walls show the crevices in some of the formations, yet they blur together, so kind of in your head you're thinking what it looks like and what the painting actually shows you. The space within the painting, the figures are very proportionally spaced out. There's no dramatic spaces where there's nothing to look at or nothing. No figures that are there. There's something going on in a little bit of every part of this painting. The painting is rather smooth looking in texture. He created a lot of the texture using darker tones and colors such as black or dark brown, really help create the dimension on the figures as well as the rock walls. Continuing on from the last slide, I kind of let you see what I was talking about. Kind of let you see what I was talking about and the space proportions and the colors that stand out in the space proportions and the shapes of certain figures. Self-explanatory. It's fairly, self-explanatory, but it kind of enhances what I said in the last slide. Delacroix painted this particular painting, Hercules and Alcestis, in 1862. It has its historical significance because of that time period when artists could sit down and paint from scenes or from stories that they heard of the past. It was said that you reached a new level within your art career. And historical stuff is significantly important because you heard about it, you knew it happened, but you wasn't there to witness it. So the fact that he could sit down and paint from Greek mythology, of something that you hear over and over again and are told from generation to generation and in stories, and really bring it to life, meant that he had reached maximum potential career, and because of that, in his art career, and because of that, a lot of people really looked up to him because this specific painting showed a romantic background which he was known for, but it also kind of threw in some more twist of a little darker side, as well as keeping a romantic touch to the painting. This particular painting had a very positive response from the public. It showed the public that Delacroix does have many aspects to his work. He can keep his little bit of romantic side and also mix it with a dark side. There was a play being performed about that time period that a lot of people were really into. It was about Greek mythology of Hercules and Alcestis. And that was kind of Delacroix's inspiration for the painting was he had watched the play, and it inspired him to paint this particular painting, and it brought a part of the play to life in a different way than people at that time period were used to. Ferdinand Eugene Victor Delacroix was born on April 26, 1798. He came from a very structured family. He had a mother and a father, but it was said that he looked a lot like the close family friend. And a lot of people were suspicious of who his father really was, if it was truly his mother was married to, or if it was the family friend. He was educated at Lycée Louis Le Grand, and that is where he developed his romantic style of art, and where he really found himself and what he was really good at. His first major painting was the Barcue of Dante. He's also known for very dramatic pieces of art that show what the middle ground within war was like. He would show what was really happening in the world instead of what each side wanted you to see or believe was happening. Delacroix also loved to travel. On one particular trip to North America, he painted over 1,000 pieces of artwork. He lived in a small cottage on the outside of Paris, France, and he lived there until his death in August 1863, and he is currently buried in Père Lachaise Cemetery. And one of his nicknames that people used to call him was the Master of Color because of how well he blended colors and how vibrantly he could make the colors look. The three styles that he was known for was Romantic, Historical, and Impressionism. Romantic, he was really good at showing off everything about a woman, her curves, what he thought really stood out on a woman. Historical, he was known for painting everything that dealt with anything historical, specifically war, what happened before, during, and after a war, and a little bit of everything in between. Impressionism, he was really good about making everyday objects come to life and giving extra life to things that already had life in them, but he would add a special touch to them that they would just become more vibrant and more bold than we ever thought was possible. My personal observation of Hercules and Alcestis, the first thing I noticed about this painting was the emotion. There's so much emotion packed into this painting. To the far right, you see the demons, of Hades coming up, and you see anger and everything you can think of that's negative. And then you see Hercules, the expression of his face is compassion, and the fact that he got to rescue her, he's content. On Alcestis' face, you see a worn-out, tired woman, but she looks like she has a bit of relief on her face as well. And then her husband kissing her forearm shows how relieved he is, and you can just picture like if it was in real life, he would just be sobbing and so excited to see her. And by him grabbing her arm, he's letting her know, he cares and he is glad to see her. There's very powerful energy within this picture too, because in the back corner of the painting, you can just see the cow that is, slain by the altar. You also have the other powerful men of that time standing around the altar, kind of taking it all in. And the colors in this painting are very bold and beautiful, and just have a very positive effect on you when you see it. I also noticed that the brush strokes within this painting were very smooth. He blended them really well, and the only places that you see that they are not very smooth and subtle are when he really wanted to make a very defined annotation of something in the painting. In the color blending, he did an excellent job of blending the color. The rocks, he gives such a textured look to them, and each rock has its own distinct color, and he managed to do that within a painting. The shadows and the light in the painting, he made sure that he filled all of the ground and all of the sky with something. If it wasn't a solid object that he painted in, he managed to cover it with the sky and light, or the ground with shadows. And the unique thing about this particular painting is he brought two worlds into one painting. He has the natural world, and he also has Hades shown on the right side of the page. When comparing this particular painting to other paintings, one of the first things I noticed was the facial detail. This particular piece of art, you can see their facial detail, you can kind of get a sense of what their expressions were. In some of his other paintings, you can't exactly see their facial expressions. Their lips, mouths, their nose, their eyes are slightly blurred, so you don't exactly get a full feel for what, the whole emotion on their faces. Another thing in a lot of his paintings were the rulers are more powerful figures were red. And in this particular one, person that's Alcestis' husband was known as a leader, so he is in red. It also reminded me of Jacob wrestling with the angel by Delacroix. David and Hercules both have the same body build. Their muscles are well defined. They kind of play off of each other the way that he painted both of them. They're very similar in build and structure, and just the overall layout of the two bodies are, they're fairly similar. Delacroix also is really good at highlighting and shadowing where is needed. He has the talent to be able to draw your eye wherever he wants it to go. He can move the focal point all around the painting, which is simple highlighting and shadowing, and it's not just in this particular painting. He painted a lot of paintings that this is possible to do with. If you search the Battle of Talisburg, you can see the facial expressions match, and if you look at Jacob wrestling with the angel, you can also use that to kind of compare and get an idea of what I'm talking about with the comparison of certain paintings. On this screen, I just wanted to demonstrate and put into perspective what I was talking about. The you can see on Alcestis' the shadow and the highlighting. She's very highlighted. You can see on Alcestis' dress and on her chest, she's very highlighted. The ground by her husband's feet, and the rock wall, the doorway to Hades, and the ground by her husband's feet, and the doorway to Hades is very. It's darker and it's shaded to show a shadow. And I also wanted to point out that her husband, the red color that he is wearing, how vibrant it is. And when you look at it up close, it really does stand out. And it makes you notice him over other aspects of this painting. I need to give credit where credit is due. I wouldn't be able to have this project without these people being able to help me along the way. Through my internet research, I found the Hercules and Alcestis painting itself on the Google Art Project. If you guys ever get bored or want to look at some really cool art and have art all in one place, you really need to check out the Google Art Project. They are an amazing place. I've never been into art, but the more I'm on Google Art Project, the more inspired I get, and it really makes you think when you get to see all the art in one place. It's really neat. The next thing I want to give thanks to is Encyclopedia Britannica. No college student can survive without their good old encyclopedia. Renee Hughes also had an article
about 56 color
and about 56 colored
palettes, 405 black
and white illustrations, and it was a lot of pictures and really kind of gave you an inside view.
There was also a video that I watched,
and it was based on his paintings and journals called The Restless Eye.
Lots of people involved in making it, and
if you check out my work site, you can see all their names for sure, but that was a really great video. It really helped me a lot.
Tom
did a really good article.
It is a printed article I found on the computer.
It is a printed article I found on the computer.
And it really helped me out with a lot of this.
And all the different images I did find on Google.com. Thanks for listening, and I hope you learn a little bit about Delacroix, and specifically the painting Hercules and Alcestis. Thanks for listening.